Hi, Dr. Justin Varney, how are you? Okay?
I'm good. I wasn't sure whether this was going to work as a connection for you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it will do. So we're just trying to make the technology work. So at the moment, just to make sure that the viewers and the listeners can see you can only see my scalp, but the viewers can see you perfectly. I hope that's okay. Fantastic. Fantastic. Can you hear me, Dr. Justin Varney?
I can hear you.
Absolutely. Yeah, perfect. I'm just going to go live in about 2 minutes' time. Just bear with me whilst I set everything up. Guys, we're just about to go live on air with our second guest, so please bear with us.
Awaaz.co.uk, also on Radio Garden apps.
Are you a concerned parent worried that the pandemic has impacted your child's education? Rising Star Academy can help low-income working parents with a fantastic allowance to fill the gaps by offering structured sessions and amazing holiday activities such as horse riding, archery, bowling and much more. Lessons will be held at the Amana Centre with our specialists. 11 plus GCSE and weekday booster classes for primary school children. Visit us at Rising Stars Academy.
Assalamualaikum. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mr. Ali. Hope you're well. We're just about to commence our second show. Please join us. It's a very important public health message that we are going to be sharing with all the listeners from Alum Rock and further afield. So, as always, I'd like to start off by sharing the local data here for Birmingham, and it saddens us in some respects, and Dr. Justin Varney can maybe put some context behind it, is that we have seen an increase in 25 cases which have been positive compared to last week. So in terms of new cases here in Birmingham, we have 301 cases compared to 276 that were recorded the week previous. And in terms of what that means per 100,000 population, 26.4 per 100,000 population this week of new positive cases compared to 24.2. And in terms of the highest wards are thus, so please pay attention if you live and reside or work there. Borsley Green, which has 87 cases, followed by North Edgbaston, Yardley East, which has 58, Hall Green, which has 51, Gravelly Hill, which has 46, Perry Bar, which has 44. So one of the real success stories is the vaccine story. So hats off to all the people, whether it's mosques, churches, our fantastic NHS colleagues who have now administered a total of 33 million doses for people that have got the first vaccine. And in terms of the second vaccine now, that's over 12.5 million sort of doses that have been completed, both first and second dose. So they have been given a vaccination or a protection of about 90 to 95%. So real good news. And in terms of who is now eligible, it is now, I think from yesterday, 42 years plus. You should now be getting a text or a letter coming and inviting you to a vaccine, to book your vaccine. So there we are. So Dr. Justin Varney, welcome to Radio Awaaz. We have been doing this on a weekly basis, sharing the local data, but that's not the reason why we have got you. But if you want to maybe just share the reason why we've seen, whether it's an anomaly or whether there's a reason behind that increase in 25, please use a few minutes to share that with us, please.
Sure, thank you. So, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. So what we're seeing at the moment is a small increase in the number of cases, particularly in secondary school age children. And we kind of expected this. Kids have been home for the Easter holidays, and as they come back into school, testing's really picked up, and anyone who has children who are at secondary school, they should be testing twice a week as well as the household. But if you've got primary school children, you should also be testing the family, but the children themselves, younger children, don't need to test. But if the family test, that's how we keep everyone safe. So over the last week or so, we've seen testing rates in children really improve again. And alongside that, we have found some more cases, as I say, particularly in school age children. That probably reflects a little bit of mingling that shouldn't have happened over the Easter break. We will watch how the numbers go the impact of the relaxation back at the beginning of April will start to play out in the numbers over the next week or two. And it will really depend on what happens over the next 2 weeks as to whether the next step in the roadmap around the 17th of May gets to go ahead or not. So watch the numbers over the next 2 weeks, because it's really that question mark of, will it all calm down because we're all following the rules and behaving, or actually have we let the cat out of the bag and the numbers are rising quickly, and that means the 17th of May may look at risk. So watch these numbers over the next week or so and we'll get a clearer picture of what's happening.
I suppose, Dr. Justin Varney, this gives us a prime opportunity for everyone now. Please, as a reminder, continue to keep a 2-meter distance. Please wear a face mask. Wash your hands as much as possible as well. Open your windows if you are in a confined space as well. I know we're in the midst of Ramadan. We have lovely iftari parties. Eid is not too far away, a fortnight away. People are busy doing their shopping as well. But, it is absolutely important that we do maintain a distance and wear a face mask when you are entering shops. And if you are a shopkeeper as well, make sure you and your staff as well have protective screening, and also, wipe down as much as you can the main touch points as well. Is there anything that you want to add that I may have missed, Dr. Justin Varney?
So I think 2 things to add. One, when you're celebrating iftar, make sure you're doing it with the people you live with. And if you want to see friends to break fast, that should be outdoors and keeping that social distance. So please do celebrate Ramadan safely this year. I have to say, all the work the mosques have been doing with us over the last few weeks and months actually preparing for Ramadan this year, it is paying off, and it is testament to our Muslim community's commitment to keeping COVID under control. The other thing I just add is that all of us should be doing the rapid lateral flow tests twice a week. So if you haven't got any, you can get them free from most chemists, any of the testing sites in the city, or you can order them from the NHS for free online as well. And they come in a box of 7. It's about the size of a box of chocolates. So it's really easy to just pop in with your shopping as well. So please do test twice a week, because the more we test, the more we play our part in keeping things under control.
Absolutely. Well said, Dr. Justin Varney. And for those of you that don't know, Dr. Justin Varney and his team have been having weekly sessions virtually with the mosque and multi-faith groups as well, and any other grassroots community organization, to equip them and give them the knowledge and the data for them to disseminate. And I'm certainly one of the COVID champions that have been dialing in. So if you have got any questions or comments for Dr. Justin Varney in particular as to why we have got him here today, which is the number of cases that we have seen around Alum Rock and other areas such as Glebe for the South African variant, and Dr. Justice is going to want what we should be doing and how do we take the necessary precautions. The phone number is 0121 682 9735. Alternatively, you can put your comments on the chat and I will read those out to Dr. Justin Varney. So over to you, Dr. Justin Varney, really about your main message about today, really, and the South African variant.
Yeah, so variants happen because as the virus reproduces, makes baby viruses, it uses our body's machinery, our factories in our cells to make it. So each time it does it, there's a variation, because there's basically a bit of us goes into the new virus, and that's how new forms of the virus develop. And in most cases, those variations don't make any difference at all. But occasionally we see a variation where it's either more infectious, or it kills more people, or that variation means that the vaccines are not going to work as well. And that's why we call it a variant of concern. And currently across the world, there are 3 major variants of concern. There's the one we have in the UK, the Kent variant, and that's what led to the rapid rise in cases around Christmas, and is now the main version of COVID in the UK. There's a variant in Brazil, which is more infectious, and there are some suggestions it also puts more people in hospital. And there's the South African variant, which is more infectious and also causes more hospitalisation. There is also a new variant appearing in India at the moment, but we don't have quite enough information to say it's definitely a variant of concern, but it's one we're watching very, very closely and are quite concerned about. Where we have cases that are identified as the South African variant or the Brazil variant, and we can't connect it to international travel, then we do additional testing in the area where the person lives. That's what's called the surge testing. It's part of the Operation Eagle. Now, at the moment in the city, we're doing surge testing in 3 areas of the city. In the Jewellery Quarter, in the area around City Hospital and New Spring Street Park. In the area of Alum Rock that runs across Alum Rock Road down to where it becomes Cottrell Lane, and the area just north to that towards Ward End Park. So that part of the area. And we've also just started in the area of Bawdsley and Highgate and Ladywood on the bit between Bristol Street and Central Mosque, going up to the bottom end of the Arcadian for those that are familiar with it. And in these areas, what we're asking people to do is, rather than use the rapid test, because in the rapid test, you put the swab in your nose and your throat, and you use the test kit then and there, and then it goes in the bin. We're asking you to use the swab and send it off to the lab. So that's the PCR test. And that's so we can check whether you've got COVID or not. But if it is COVID, then we do an additional test to work out, is it normal UK COVID or is it the South African variant? So in the area along Alum Rock Road, down to Cotswold Lane, on the north side towards Ward End Park, we're going door to door, knocking on people's doors, offering them the opportunity to test. We drop the test kits off, and then we can either pick them up the same day or we can come back the next day and pick them up. Or people can drop them back to the Ward End fire station as another location. And you can also put them in the post, although I have to say the post office doesn't like it, because when we do this surge testing, the post boxes get full very, very quickly with testing kit boxes. So if you can drop it back to the fire station, that's much more helpful, or wait till they come round and collect it the next day. And we really need everyone to take this PCR test. Even if you've had the vaccine, you still need to take the test, because like any medicine, the vaccine's not 100% perfect. Sure. So we want to make sure we don't miss you out. We know from the scholars, we've asked the scholars in the mosques, using the test while you're fasting does not break fast. Good. So it's perfectly okay to test while you're fasting. It doesn't interrupt the fast because you're not swallowing the swab. So it's seen the same way as brushing your teeth, for example, which wouldn't break your fast as long as you spat out your toothpaste. So the real ask is for everyone to do this testing. It will be going on over the weekend. We'll be coming around knocking on doors again. If you've missed them, if you haven't been in, we've popped a letter through your door. And often now we're also posting the kits through your door as well. And then it says what time we'll be coming back to collect them. Or as I say, you can drop them off. So the real ambition is we're trying to get about 70% of everyone that lives in this area to do the test. And what we're trying to do is find, are there any more cases of South African variant? So we can work out where this person might have caught it from. Because they didn't get on a plane, and we've done testing in where they go to work or school. We've done that testing already, can't find it there. So now we've got to look at, did they get it in a local shop or something else?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Justin Varney. I have got a caller. Sorry to keep you waiting. You've got Dr. Justin Varney here. Please post your question or comment, please. Hello?
Hello, it's Mr. Shah.
Hi, Mr. Shah. Muhtarim, please get your question, comment.
Mr. Varney, I know they're doing all the tests and everything, but how many tests have already been done? How many positives and negative tests have already come in the Alum Rock area?
That's a great question. So did you get that, Dr. Justin Varney?
I did, yes. So I think Mr. Shah was asking about how many tests have we done so far and what have we found so far. So we've only just started in Alum Rock. We've handed out 800 testing kits, but we've only had about 200 of them back so far. Yeah. And they've gone off to the lab, and it takes 2 or 3 days for us to get the results. The people who did the tests, they get the result in about 24 hours, but it takes another day or two for it to come on the computer for me to be able to see it. So I haven't got the numbers yet, but I would expect by Friday, I'll start to see the numbers coming through from Alum Rock. My hope is that it will be like the testing we did in Frankly back in February. And in Frankly, it was about 10,000 people tested in Frankly, but it was a much larger area. And we didn't find any South African variant. But we did find about 200 people who had COVID that didn't know they had COVID. Oh, wow. So looking at what's going on in the city, I would be very surprised if we don't find any COVID, but I'm hopeful we'll just find normal UK COVID rather than more South African variant, because what I'm trying to avoid is the situation that London has at the moment with quite a lot of South African cases, and there's been clear evidence of transmission in the community and the South African virus spreading. And that's a threat to all of us because the South African virus is more dangerous and it does cause problems for the vaccine. So my hope is we'll find nothing, but we need to keep an eye on it. And as I say, it'll be a couple more days until I get the numbers back.
That's great. Thank you, Dr. Justine Varney. And I think it may be worth using this opportunity to also share with the audience and the listeners that we also have another meeting virtually tomorrow at 6 o'clock for anyone that wishes to dial in, where Dr. Justine Varney, in his own inimitable style, will show some data and some graph as well. And it's a lot more infographics, and it's a lot more easy digestible than sometimes we may assume. So please, if you want the link, it is on the Alum Rock Community Forum. We can also put it on the Radio Aapki Awaaz page as well, so you can dial in tomorrow. As a final note now, Dr. Justine Varney, is there anything else that you wish the community of Alum Rock and wider for them to be adhering to or complying to?
So the other thing I'd just say to listeners is to really encourage people to take the vaccine. I'm really pleased that the work that the radio station and other community organisations in Alum Rock have been doing to increase the uptake of the vaccine. I do fear that we will see a third wave of COVID coming. If you look at Europe, if you look at what is sadly happening at India at the moment, this is a very, very serious threat. And the vaccine is the best chance at protecting yourself and the people you love from the third wave. We know that the vaccines are safe, the side effects are incredibly rare, and they are much lower than any of the risks going with COVID. The risk of a blood clot with the vaccine, for example, is 4 in a million people have the vaccine. The risk of a similar serious clot in smokers is well over 16,000 clots in a million smokers. And if you look at people with COVID, out of 1 million people who catch COVID, irrespective of whether they go to hospital or not, 165,000 people with COVID will develop a serious clot. Sure. So the vaccine is safe. We need to get the numbers up in Alum Rock. They're still lagging behind many other parts of the city. So if you're listening tonight, please book your appointment. The NHS is not there to judge you. If you've changed your mind and you're eligible, please come and get the jab, because I do fear, the pictures we see in India are really scary for all of us. And we can play our part by taking the vaccine and taking the tests when we're asked to. So I would love to see Alum Rock jump up the league when it comes to the vaccine. I know Mr. Ali feels very strongly about this as well, and has been working with us on getting the messages out. So please get the jab, and please take part in the testing that's going on. It's part of the things that we each do to keep our community safe.
Thank you, Dr. Justine Varney, for coming on Radio Aapki Awaaz, sharing that very important message with our listeners and viewers. And if there's anything that we can further do to spread that message of yours, then please, this is a radio station that is at your disposal. Thank you for your time, and keep up the great work.
Thank you, and good night.
Cheers. Bye now. Bye. That was Dr. Justine Varney sharing the very important message about anyone and everyone that lives or has business on Alum Rock Road to make sure that you do the testing as and when it comes through your door, when they knock on your door, because this South African variant is 70% more virulent, so more transmissible than the original COVID. So the last thing we want is a third wave now. The fact that we are allowed to go to back to schools and shops, we don't want the third wave, as Dr. Justine Varney alluded to to back in the UK. We've seen the horrific pictures in India, Pakistan and many other countries. Our thoughts and prayers are with those, and if you've got any family, you know, we are here to support you in any kind of way. Now, that's second show over. We're going to take a short break and come back with the third show, where we have Dr. Imran Hussain, who's a local GP, talking about a very important thing, something that I will be taking a huge note of, is how to stay and remain healthy during Ramadan. Please stay with us and we will be back again shortly.